Good morning, I'm Nigel Croft and this is TA for Traders for Monday the 6th of March. In this short video I'm going to be looking at the three major US indices, the S&P, the Dow Jones and Nasdaq, and also at the end of the video I will also have a quick look at the VIX index. What you'll see in all the three key major indices is that we had a slight consolidation towards the end of last week, and there's some key indicators that are showing us that this consolidation will continue. So let's go straight in and look at the S&P. And here you can see that we had the consolidation last week. Strong move to an all-time high, but it seems to be a bit of a blowout that we had. There was no follow-through buying the next day. The market did push slightly positive, but then drifted off, and that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing sellers come in through the day. We've now had 3 days with red bodies, which indicates that the market closed below where it opened, and this is starting to be a warning sign. They're not long bodies yet, which would be even more of a concern. But we are coming back to support, so it'll be key this week to see if this support holds. I mean, the initial support is at the 20-day, which is 23.49.5. So let's see what happens there. Other indicators also started to roll. RSI has obviously rolled down, and you can see the MACD, which are starting to roll over here now as well. So again, indicative that we're going to have a further consolidation. On the longer term picture, I mean, obviously we've actually now, this is sorry, on the weekly, here we go. I mean, obviously just that one slight week of consolidation last week after 5 good solid weeks. Here, there's not such a sign of a consolidation arriving. The MACD is still positive, and the RSI, although overbought, is still indicative of upside momentum, of positive momentum, but is overbought at the 73.56 level. Looking at the support resistances on the S&P, we do have a resistance now at 2401.8, which was the high of last week. Whereas when we did this video last week, there were no resistances, but we're in new all-time high. So that's a key level to watch on the upside. On the downside, well, we've mentioned already the 20-day. Below there, you're going to have the support at the 50-day, which is at 23.03, and then below there, from the previous level where we had a takeoff, 22.68.1. Moving on to the Dow Jones, again you can see the consolidation. Again you're seeing the RSI and the MACD in a rolling pattern. Here the 20-day moving average is at 26.38, with the index at 29.35. Very similar picture to what we're seeing on the S&P. Again, on the weekly, not as bad. The MACD is still positive, RSI still showing positive momentum, but is overbought. And on the support resistances on the Dow, well, there's a resistance now at that all-time high, 21.170.2, and the support comes in at 25.29.5 and 21.87. So they're the levels to watch. The picture is just very similar between the S&P and the Dow, which isn't always the case. On the Nasdaq, you can see that I've drawn here these trend lines, and what I've done is I've drawn a trend line through the highs that we've seen over the last month, and then copied that down here. And I'm just expecting that maybe we're gonna stay in this trend line for quite a time, and obviously we're at the upper boundary now, but we have had this consolidation. Really, you'd expect it to at some point test the lower boundary again, which would be well below 5100 in the now, but obviously in time that's going higher. Here, similar picture. We had the move to the all-time high, no follow through buying. On Nasdaq, we have had a green day, an up day, very narrow trading range. That was on Thursday, but it was followed on Friday by another weekday and closing towards the lows. So the expectation is for further consolidation. And here, actually, the MACD has now diverged. We've got the shorter below the longer term indicator. That's a sell sign, and is very indicative that this consolidation has now started, and that's a big warning sign. The RSI as well, in this market, did show a non-confirmation. Now, a non-confirmation is when an RSI doesn't reach a peak when the market reaches a new peak. So it's an indication that the momentum isn't as strong as it was previously. And here we had this. We had a move to an all-time high on the index, but as you can see here, the RSI didn't reach didn't get to previous levels. So it was a warning sign, and now we've had the MACD rolling. This market does look like it's going to start to test the support levels. On the longer term picture, on the weekly, again not as bad. Here the MACD still showing positive momentum, and the RSI still showing good momentum to the upside, although again overbought, 72.49. On the support resistances on the Nasdaq, got the resistance now on the upside, the all-time high 53.99.88, and then the supports coming in at the 20 and the 50-day moving average 5307.45 and 5150.5. Just going back to that daily and just emphasizing that we're at the top of the trend, and the RSI and the MACD have rolled, and you can see there the 20-day will give the initial support, followed by the 50-day, but we would expect those to be tested. Just very quickly at the end, I'd just like to show you the VIX, which last week again went to a new low. This isn't indicative of any potential consolidation, because when markets are expecting a consolidation, you would expect people to start buying the VIX, and for it to edge up, in expectation the market's coming down and increased volatility. But here it's gone back below 11, although actually it is slightly up today. It's back slightly above 11 today. This is the closing level, 10.96. But so that's not indicative of any expected market consolidation, but maybe should be used as a hedge, because this should be higher and it's not at the moment. So potential hedge using the VIX, and there's the longer term picture on the VIX, and you can see it very low levels below the 11 level. So that concludes TA for traders on the US indices. I'll be back in about half an hour with two more videos, one on the European indices and one on the Asian indices. Thank you for watching. Please be aware this is just for educational purposes and are my own opinions and should not be used for investment advice, and please do have a look at the disclaimer, which is just coming on the screen. Thank you.